Hello there, welcome. Okay, so I got to this point in Showtime, which is to plan some upcoming, I guess, podcast-like episodes at work. But I've added the ability to create and show episodes, so I can say some episodes new, and it would create, well, it'll pick out a cast for that episode. And I can also show it so it remembers the cast that it previously picked. And it does this by putting it into a data file. So it puts it into this file called episodes, and at the minute it's awkwardly separated by commas. That was something I did at the end of last episode just to get it to work. And the problem I had is we have other files. We have files for, let's say, hosts and participants. Oops, it's in a file called people. And these are new line separated. So it expects a single line to represent a single person, which means that when you say hosts list, oops, not from there. Let me find this. I can say something like hosts list. What it does is it reads the contents of that file line by line. So I get the file back again. It reads it line by line and it looks for lines starting with host, and that's how it picks out something of type host. But for episodes, that doesn't really work as well, as cleanly, because episodes has got quite a lot of data in it. And originally it was spanning multiple lines, but the way I've written the storage layer, it feeds stuff in line by line. That doesn't work for reading a whole episode. So at the end of the last episode, I just quickly-ish, like as a hack, I just comma separated some stuff so that I can put it into a file in a single line and read it out in a single line. So yeah, it's kind of okay. I'm going to fix that a little bit. I think what I'm going to do for now is to keep it on a single line, just fix the separator so it's not this awkward comma, but I actually use like a null character or something to separate stuff. It's probably as good as anything else. But the thing I really want to work on is we can list the episodes, we can show and create new episodes, but something I need to do quite often is replace people. So maybe I plan something and Bippy says, oh, I can't make it, I'm very busy, or I'm on holiday or something. So I want to say replace Bippy, and it should pick another person, a random person that's not Bippy and is not either Bob or Hetty, and replace them in the episodes file. Okay, so I think that's what I want to start working on. But first I'm going to look at this on Marshaller. Marshalling and non-marshalling. So I interspersed with comma previously, and then I unwords it. So what's happening here is we get the host, put it into an array or list, and then we join it with the participants, which is already a list, but they're marshaled. So what you'll see is it'll say host somebody. Look at the file, it'll say host Bob. This is the marshalling of the host part. And then Bippy and Hetty will be the marshalling of the participants. So it does that. It gets a new list with the 3 marshaled strings. Then it joins them with commas, and then it unwords it, which isn't quite what I want to do. So the first thing I probably want to do is null separate them. So I'll join them with null characters, and I don't really want to unwords it because that puts spaces in between. I really just want to join these together. So I don't know if it's got some kind of folding in it. I really just want to call join. But I don't think that's in text. What's it saying here? Yeah, it's not in scope, it doesn't exist. So I could do a fold where I just inject an empty text, an empty string basically, and then I could just use normal I don't know how you pronounce this, the semigroup operator, however you pronounce that, to join the strings together, the text together. So I could just say something like Foldle, and I've forgotten the signature for Foldle. Which way around is it? Was it text Foldle in particular? Okay, let's use that one. And the arguments for this are, I don't want this. Okay, I have a list of texts. So let's just use list folding. And that goes into there. So we'll take the accumulator so far, which will be our string or text. It'll take each argument from the list in turn. So this will also be a text, which is something new. So the function I want to pass in is just that. And we're going to start with the empty string. So that should join these together. And then when we split on, we should be able to just split on null character, and that should give us back the separate parts. And then we say unmarshal the host and these separate elements, and then the rest of the things will be participants. We unmarshal those. So that's what I hope will work okay. So let's go episodes new. I'll have to recompile it first, but then hopefully we have host Betty and the participants, and then we say cat. Right, have we got this? So we got, it'll have to be cat minus v. Sorry, let me split it to there so you can see the whole screen. If we do cat minus v, it should go, or maybe not, I've accidentally typed space in there. Cat minus v should basically escape the null character for me when it's printing it out. Okay, so you can see the null separated. We can see they're separated up to something. I think it's null separated. And when I show it, it loads it okay. Which means that we can put commas into names basically. So there's no character which is going to clash here. You can't put a null character into the name of somebody. So that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so that was the first thing. I just wanted to fix that up. But what I really want to look at in this episode is if I go to commands in episodes, we have commands for creating a new episode and for showing an episode, but we don't have anything to do with replacing somebody, replacing a participant or a host. It should work it out. So when you call replace, we give it the name of the person we're going to replace and the new person, and we're going to call, just copy from somewhere so it's random noise, but we can say run replace old name and new name. Okay, so run replace. We'll need to use a storage. And what we're given, we're giving two texts. So the old and the new. And we're going to do something. Let me say run replace. It's undefined for a second. Let's see why it doesn't have text. Maybe I just never imported this yet. Yep. So we'll import that. Okay. So a couple of things can happen. We could find that we don't have that person, this old name, in the file at all. And I guess we just print an error in that case and do nothing. Or it could be the host, in which case we want to replace we want to find a new host and then put them into the file, make sure it's not the current host. Or it could be a participant, in which case we want to replace them. So old name and new name. All these people have to exist. That's the other problem we have. Actually, we're not going to replace them with new name at all. That's not what we're doing here. We're not giving it the name of the person to replace them with. We're just saying replace the previous person and pick someone appropriate to go in that place. Okay. So we get rid of this, and then we'll get rid of new name, and we'll just say replace the name. Okay. So I guess the first thing I do is just load the episode. Storage load. Okay, so we have the episode, and then we can work out whether the name is the host. So the episode's got a cast, I think. What's the type of episode? It's not in this file, is it? In here? Yes. Okay, so we can just call get cast on it, and it gives us back the cast list. So we're not that interested in the episode itself, but we just want the cast from there. So we will call get cast on that. Okay, now we have the cast, we can say if name is equal to it'll be cast.host. Is that right? Let me have a quick look at the cast. I was doing this every week is I forget what I'm doing in between. So I can't remember like what the structure looks like for a cast, for example. So it has something called cast host, which I probably wrote before I added record.syntax. So I was probably just prefixing all of the fields here, all the members here with the word cast. So here it's going to be cast.castHost. So if they're equal, then we will say undefined. In fact, yeah, undefined. So we're going to replace the host. Else. We're going to do else. We can't want an else if. I don't think that's a thing that we have access to. I could do it in here. I could say name. Okay, I don't really like this sort of nested if stuff. So let me just make that error go away for a second. Okay, so get case, we would need to import, sorry, get cast. That's cool. Couldn't match type, maybe episode with episode. Okay, so this might not return an episode. Right, what do we do? There's no episode. That's a good point. So episode of storage.load. Maybe what we're going to do here, can we say put strill in, lift.io or t dot So lift IO of TIO dot put string. And in fact, I'm not even going to do that. So I was going to print out some error message if there was no cast, so no episode. But actually what I want to do is do something slightly different, which is I want to return 3 possible states for where the name exists inside the episode or inside the cast. So I can say something like case find replaceable. I don't want to call this, but let me just replaceable. Let me just call it that for a second. Find replaceable in the episode, and if it comes back with replace host, then undefined, but we will obviously replace the host at some point. And if it's replace participant, and again undefined, but we will replace participant. And if it is not found, then here I can say lift IO of TIO dot bootstrap. Oh, I'll put another case in here as well. I'll say no episode. So we'll just cope with the null thing. Or the nothing, sorry. So we'll say put strlen say cannot replace show name. We don't need to show name because it's already text, or will be text for time I'm using it. So we can't replace name as no episode is planned. That's a bit wordy actually. Let's just say no episode is planned. Okay, and here we can say, this is where we can say name is not a cast member for the episode. Right. So we need a data type for this. So we'll say data, what will we call this? Cast member. It's not, it's cast member something. It's cast member search result. It's a bit wordy. Result. So that's going to be this host or replace participant. Or no episode. Or not found. I can't type tonight. Okay. I forgot to join these. Okay. So now I need to write find replaceable. Oh, I can get rid of this as well. Where find replaceable so I'm going to rename this now to find cast member. Oh, I can't do it because of syntax errors. Find cast member So say find cast member where we pass in nothing, so we didn't find an episode. This is the easy case. So that's no episode. Find cast member of just some episode. So now we need to look at it. So we have an episode, we can get the cast out. So we can say, let cast equal e dot get cast. So that's our cast. And then here we can say, what are we going to say here? So if cast.host get host, cast host, that's what it was, is equal to name. Do I want to do like this? I think I can destructure it here. Say get cast and use a guard. So I can say first guard will be name is cast. Oh goodness, get cast equals cast. So name is cast dot cast host. In that case, we want to say replace host, or we want to say name is oops, backtick on there. It's an element of cast participants. If that's the case, let's replace participants. Participant. Otherwise, it's not found. Constructor just does not have it. Okay. How do I do this? So I don't know, we say something like that. No. I think if it was just a normal record, I could destructure it like this. Pretty sure I've done that before, but it doesn't really like it with the gist. Doesn't make sense, put a dollar there. Okay, so we say we have an episode. I'm just going to call it go for a second. So we'll say go E. So now E of this not a record constructor E. It's not called E, it's called go. Okay, I've forgotten how to do matching a record. Since I have an episode, I want to get a cast out of it. So, non-type variable argument, what's that mean? Okay, so we have E, and we want to get the cast out of it. on type variable argument again. What's going on here? Just make sure this is okay. Okay, so I thought that's how I wrote guard for a function. So you say go something, you put your guard in, and you have that. Redundant guard. Okay, that's good start. So there's something with this. Getting closer. So I thought I had record.syntax enabled, so I could have called it like that. Didn't seem super happy. Okay, so it can't match text with host, so it would have to be host of name is equal to that. And oh, what's it doing? Come on. I just asked it to remove the bracket, but it got stuck. Okay. I don't know why I couldn't put dot in place, but anyway. So can I say GUI here? Apparently can. Right. So when we call run replace, if the host matches, it should say replace host. If the participant matches, it should try and replace participant. If there's no episode set up, we should get this error. And if it's not found, we should get this error. We could start with not found one. That should work. So have a look at this. Oh, we have an error up here. Command. Oh, my language server is dead. Problem is here. This is a string, and I've told it I want a text. So it'll be t.pack. But I don't know what else is broken because it's stuck here. Imported it. Import qualified data.text as t. Interesting, it's stuck here and doesn't produce any output, and that's the problem here as well. So this is obviously broken, but broken in a way that's breaking the language server as well. Okay, that's a bit unexpected. I guess I could try writing this out the long way round, so we can say otherwise is not found. That's the easy case. Okay, so you could say host name is equal to, and now we want to say cast host on get cast of E, and that should be replace host. Does that compile? No, I get stuck here forever. Wonder why this doesn't work. There is something you can call. You can say get host of that to give me back a text. Okay, so calling the constructor here for creating a host seemed to just break everything. So it's get participant. Oh, let's go later on. So it's cast participants it's not going to be equal, it's going to be an element of, and these are participants, so we need to call map get participant. On that. Okay, I'm just going to print out some stuff here actually so I can make sure that we're matching these properly. Given that it took me longer than expected to actually get it to match. Let's throw in replace host. And it's lift IO of TIO dot puts in this participant. Okay, so we have an episode. Let it compile. We have an episode, so we say episodes replace Tim. And say Tim's not a cast member. That's great. So we say Betty. It says replace host. That's what I expect. And Hoppy. It says replace host, which is a mistake. And Boppy also says replace host. It's because I said replace host here. Participant. Compile build. So Boppy now says replace participant. Hoppy says that. And Betty is replace host. Okay, and if I remove the episodes, it says no such plans. Okay, and then we can say episodes new and show, and then we can say something like replace Bippy. Okay, so at least the matching works now. This is all a bit of a mess, but that's okay. So the thing I really want to do is look at replacing host. So replace host, we're going to take the cast, and we're going to take the hosts. So we're going to take the cast and the current host. The thing I'm thinking here is we need to get back the alternative hosts. So that's all of the hosts minus the current one. And then we need to pick a random element from that. Okay, so it's going to take text. In fact, it's going to update the storage as well. So we're going to say s.storage. So we're going to take text, which is the name of the person we're replacing. We're going to take an existing cast. Right, let's take an existing episode because episodes in the future might carry more data. And we're just going to run it under app, and we're not going to return anything, I don't think. No, I think it's okay. So replace host, and we have name, and we have an episode. So the first thing we're going to do is get back all of the hosts. And we do that by using the storage of cast, I think. So we can say load hosts. And it gives us back a list of hosts. So we can call this cast storage dot load hosts. And then we can, oh, we already have cast storage, it's not handy. Okay, so then we want to remove this element. So do we not have L already imported? Data list, no we do not. Or data.list import qualified as L. Why is it not working properly? Do nothing. Okay, so can we call L dot? No, we cannot. I was hoping about autocomplete for me and I could just find all the methods, all the functions inside list, but it doesn't do doing that. Okay, that's okay. So it's definitely going to folder lots of things. So is there a delete? I think there is. And the type of delete is give an element and a list, and it gives you back a new list. So we'll remove name from hosts. And we can say let new hosts or available hosts, whatever, that. Can match type host with text. Ah, yes, okay. So we now need to turn these back into text things. So we can say get host. Mapped over that. Okay, so these are potential hosts. And then we can say let new host equal, and there's a way of picking stuff, and I can't remember how I did it. It's pick cast, it's that. So it's the head of take random gen. So the generator is in app, I think. We can say let gen is asks gen. No. Generator is not in there. The seed is in there probably. Not even. We just get a standard generator. Okay. So get our generator. And run the generator, we get all available hosts. We delete this name from it. Then we find a new host by taking one random element from there. Okay, so we have our new host, and then what we want to do is, there is a potential problem here that it might be empty. But let's assume it's not. Let's try and get it working. So now we have a new host. So then what we want to do is we can say our episode new episode is an episode where we were. How is constructed for this look? It's given a cast and then construct for this. It's a record, but we can just give it the host and participants. So we can say cast with new host and the old episode dot participants. Maybe, maybe not. Why is it like this? It's not episode, it's episode.cast.participants, but I think this is called get cast, and I think this is called get participants. I don't think it's happy with that. So let's say get cast, get participants from the episode. Couldn't match type cast with list participant. Other way around, isn't it? So we get the cast first. Okay, and then what can we do? It's actually called cast participants. There we go. Okay. So we have our episode, we get a cast back, we get participants. We use that to create a new cast with a different host. It should come from potential hosts. It expects it to be of type. Okay, so we turn them back into texts here, calling this, and we now turn it back into a host at this point when we put it back into the cast. And that we need to import this. No. I think I've understood what all the errors were about earlier. So I was saying create a new host and it didn't have the constructor for host in scope. And I think that led to all manner of confusion. Okay. So we have our episode. I could probably rewrite this guard anyway, but let's not rewrite the guard. We have our new episode, so now we need to store it. So this is something like s.add. How does new work? Here we go, new. It's storage.new that. Okay. We can just give it the episode, new episode. Right, so create a random number generator, load all of the hosts, sorry, turn them into texts, delete the name from there. That gives us all the hosts except the one we're replacing. Pick a random one from there. Create a new cast where we set new host and the participants are unchanged from the episode. And then we store that episode. So here we should be able to say replace host. Replace host. So we have our episode, we have our new episode, we have our cast, we have our participants, we have our host. So here we should be able to say replace host. 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 Repla and it needs to take a name and an episode. So these are called name and episode. Right, let me fix that. So this is maybe episode. So when we're replacing the host, we will say we will have found an episode by this point. And here as well. So replace host, bracket this, replace host of some episode. Then we call that. And replace participant of some episode. We're not using it yet, but we will in a second. And here we have our episode, and here we have our episode again. Right, so there we go, run replace. So we replace the host, and then we want to say run list episodes. I know I pluralize that. It should be a single episode, but anyway. Is that what I want? No, it's a bit. I don't want to load it again, I don't think. Or do I? Let's load it again. It's a little bit inefficient, but it's quick to write. So replace host is not returning a new episode, so we might as well just load it out of the file again, because we need to get it from somewhere. Okay, cabal build. It's a good sign. So if we show this, sorry, shows we have a host called Betty, and then we should be able to say replace Betty, and let's replace the host with Bob, which is cool. That's what I wanted it to do. Right, this participant, it's going to be similar. Participant. Now this is slightly more work because we going to load the host, and then we're going to say participants is load participants, because hosts can also be participants. So for both of these, I'm going to turn them into text at this point. Can match type host with host. So the type of this is list of host, and for each of those things I want to call get host on it. Oh, so it's upset because of later on. It is not upset because of later on. So cast storage load host gives me back a list of host. For each of those I want to get the name out. And for participants, I'm going to call get participant. And again, it couldn't match type list participant with participant. Oh, hang on. Right, okay. So the type of this is actually not list of host. I didn't read it properly. It's actually app s list of host. So I want to reach into app s, and then from app s reach into the list to run that. I don't know how to do that actually. So kind of want, I want to say get host. I want that to exist. But that's not a thing, so it's okay, let's not even try and do that, it's too hard. So potential participants. We're going to delete the name from get host applied to hosts, join to get participant applied to all the participants. And we need some more brackets for this. Okay, so that's all the potential participants. Doing let over multiple lines is not, there's something weird about it. I think it's that this has to be indented there or something weird like that. Okay, anyway. Yeah, incorrect indentation, mismatch brackets. Multi-line lets. The syntax is a little bit weird. Okay, new participant. Take a random one from the participants. And what do we want to do? So we have our list of potential participants. We pick a new name from it. Not even that. Okay, I've done it slightly wrong. So we don't just delete the name from here. We don't only want to delete the person being replaced from there. We want to remove anyone that's in the cast already. And it's actually the same thing here. It's just that in this case, the only cast member who could appear in the host. That's not true, actually. I was going to say the only cast member who could appear as the host is the current host, but it's not true because a potential host could also be a participant. So I can write a helper for this. I can have something like remove cast, and that's going to take an episode. Do we have an episode or a cast? Let's take a list of potential things. So we're going to take a cast and a list of potential people, and we're going to return a new list of potential people, but without the cast in there. So given some cast and some names, first thing we're going to do is remove host. And the second thing we're going to do is remove participants from that. Right, let's just like that. And pass a name to that point. Okay, so where remove host It's good we had above. So it's going to be l.delete and then we can say cast.getHost. Hope we can say that. From names, and then remove participants. And that's going to be passing in names here. So let's say it's going to look like X's because I don't know what meaningful name to give at this point. So X is here, and then X is here as well. I'm going to say l.delete, but it's not quite what we want. It's kind of like a delete all. We want to remove one list from another. L dot, it's not intersection, it's the other one. Let's drop. Nope, that drops some things. I'm going to flip this up. So we have a list of A's and a list of A's, and we get back a new list of A's, and goodness knows what it's called. So somewhere inside base, it is not those. Okay, let me, what's it called, delete, that's inside list. List difference. So // it's horrible. So we can say something like X is without cast.participants and let's for that. See, X is a list of text. I don't really understand why. It's not. Okay, so we want to call get participant on those. And in fact, we get something like participants is get participant applied to whatever comes back from cast participants. And we can say hosts is equal to get host. I just applied to cast on its own, it's only a single. There's only a single host inside there. And then to get everyone back, we could just use the intersection, right? So names, not the intersection, but whatever the difference between names and participants. Oh no. Current cast or cast members. So we can say cast members is hosts, a single host. Added to participants. There's nothing called get host. No, it's called cast host. Okay, so I think this should give me back a list of names without the cast members inside it. What I'm going to do here is say potential hosts is, what was it called? Remove cast. Remove cast, and it needs to cast, so that's episode.getCast. So I put brackets there. From all of potential hosts. I think that makes sense. Okay, so we never actually use the name again because we know that this name must be the host. And here for a single participant, right, we got loading of the host, loading of participants. So here we want to say remove cast. And it's episode.getCast. And then it's all the potential people. Okay, so now we've done that. We can pick a new participant. That's kind of cool. Then we're going to create a new episode. So the host for this is just whatever it was before. So it's cast host of get cast of the episode. And then new participants. So what's this going to be? We need to take previous participants and delete the old one and then put the new one in. So it's going to be new participant. That's going to be joined onto l.delete. And what we're going to delete from here is a participant called name from the cast participants of the cast of the episode. Right, so that doesn't need brackets. And this is going to be new participants. Then we just store it. And then up here, we can say replace participants name E followed by run list participants, run list episode, sorry. And let's replace singular participant. Okay, not super happy with the sort of imperative nature of this. It's going to like do this and then do that and then do another thing. But does it work? Because if it works, I'll be happier. Episode show So we want to replace Bippy. Go, let's replace Bippy with Boppy. So we replace Hoppy. It's replaced, weirdly, it's replaced Hoppy with Bippy and then shuffled. But that's okay, I can do that. And we replace Bippy again. Then we get Betty. It's interesting because Betty's actually a host. So now if we replace Bob, you get Freddy, which is cool. And if we replace Freddy, it'll have to go back to Bob because that's the only other option. If we replace Bob, it should go back to Freddy because that's the only option. Cool, okay. That seems to work. That's cool. So I can now replace people in upcoming episodes, which is something I do quite a lot when planning these things. So that's quite a useful command to have. But to do it, it doesn't feel very much like functional programming. Yeah, I'm sure there are nicer ways to write this, so I might have a think about it. But it at least works, so I could keep going and do some maybe more interesting stuff next week. We can get rid of these, pure unit things, because they were just placeholders to stop type errors. Cool. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time, where I'm not certain yet, but I think I'm going to start looking at topics. So we have topics list. We have a single topic in there, but we can add like new topic list. So what I might do is get it to suggest a topic as well. And then obviously make topics replaceable if people don't want to talk about a particular thing. But yeah, that's maybe something for next week. But yeah, thanks for watching and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.